Zara had always been the quiet type, the kind of girl who stayed in the background, unnoticed by most. But when she met Damien, everything changed. He was the kind of boy mothers warned their daughters about, dangerous, charming, and unpredictable. He had a smile that could make a girl forget her own name and eyes so deep they seemed to hold every secret in the world. Zara didn't care about the rumors that surrounded him, the whispers of the countless girls he had broken. She was different. She believed she could change him. It wasn't long before she was head over heels, surrendering herself completely to him. He made her feel special, like she was the only girl in the world. Every stolen moment with him was magic, every touch electric. But what she didn't know was that she was merely another name on his long list of conquests. He had played the game so well, weaving a web of lies so intricate that she never even suspected. She had given him everything, her love, her trust, and even her soul. And just when she thought she had won his heart, he shattered hers without a second thought. The first sign came when she saw him with another girl, his hands wrapped around her waist, his lips whispering sweet nothings into her ear. Her heart clenched, but she convinced herself it was nothing. Maybe she was his cousin or a friend. She refused to believe otherwise. But the signs kept coming, too loud to ignore. The late-night calls he never answered, the dates he cancelled without explanation, the scent of unfamiliar perfume on his clothes. When she confronted him, he laughed, brushing off her worries like they were nothing. "You're overthinking," he said, planting a kiss on her forehead, melting away her doubts for a while. But then she found the messages, sweet, intimate words meant for another girl. Her world crumbled. She waited for him to explain, to show remorse, to at least pretend he cared. Instead, he smirked and said, "You knew what this was." That was the moment her heart broke beyond repair. The love she thought was pure had been nothing more than a cruel illusion, a game he had played to pass the time. Zara spiraled into darkness. Every heartbeat felt like a knife slicing through her chest. Sleep became a luxury, food lost its taste, and the world around her turned gray. She replayed every moment in her head, wondering where she went wrong, what she could have done differently. Her friends tried to comfort her, but their words felt empty. They had warned her, after all. They had told her Damien was bad news, but she had refused to listen. Now, she was paying the price. She deleted his number, blocked him on every platform, but nothing could erase him from her mind. His voice still echoed in her ears, his laughter haunted her dreams. She tried to move on, to pretend she was okay, but the pain was unbearable. She had given him everything, and he had thrown her away like she was nothing. One night, unable to bear the agony any longer, she made a decision. If love was this cruel, if life could be so merciless, then she wanted no part of it. She wrote a letter, a goodbye no one would ever understand, and left it on her nightstand before stepping out into the cold, unforgiving night. The city was alive with laughter and music, but Zara felt like a ghost drifting through it all. Her feet carried her to the tallest bridge in town, a place where countless souls had found their final escape. She climbed onto the ledge, staring down at the dark waters below. The wind howled around her, as if urging her to stop, but her mind was made up. She closed her eyes, letting the pain wash over her one last time. She was ready to leave the heartbreak behind, to silence the endless ache in her chest. But just as she leaned forward, a firm grip yanked her back. She gasped, stumbling into strong arms. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" a voice demanded, filled with both anger and concern. She blinked up at the stranger, a young man with deep brown eyes and an expression that was both fierce and kind. He held onto her tightly, as if afraid she would disappear. "Let me go," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I can't," he said firmly. "Not when your life still has meaning." His words shook her, breaking through the fog of despair. For the first time in weeks, she hesitated. The stranger introduced himself as Malik. He refused to leave her side, insisting on taking her to a nearby cafe to warm up, too exhausted to argue, she followed him. They sat in silence for a while, the smell of coffee filling the air. "Why?" he finally asked. "Why would you do that?" Zara hesitated, the words caught in her throat. She had been drowning in her pain for so long that she had forgotten how to speak about it. But something about Malik felt safe. Slowly she told him everything. About Damien, about the love she thought was real, about the betrayal that had left her shattered. Malik listened without interrupting, his eyes filled with understanding. When she finished, he leaned forward. "You gave your heart to the wrong person, but that doesn't mean your life is over." He was just a chapter, not the whole story. Zara looked at him, her vision blurry with tears. No one had ever put it that way before. She had convinced herself that Damien's rejection had ended her life, but what if it hadn't? What if Malik was right? What if there was more waiting for her? Days turned into weeks, and Zara found herself meeting Malik often. He never pushed her, never tried to fix her, but simply reminded her that she was not alone. Slowly the pain began to fade. The scars remained, but they no longer controlled her. She laughed again, something she never thought possible. She saw beauty in the world she had almost left behind. Malik had saved her that night, but more than that, he had given her hope. He taught her that heartbreak was not the end, just a painful lesson. And one day, when she was ready, she knew she would love again. But this time, she would not lose herself. She would not give her heart blindly, because she had learned the most important lesson of all. She was enough, just as she was. And no one, not even Damien, could take that away from her. Zara had never believed she would reach this point, standing at the edge of life, ready to let go. But now, as she sat in the cafe with Malik, warmth slowly returning to her frozen limbs, she realized how close she had come to making an irreversible choice. The weight of her grief still clung to her, but for the first time, there was something else. A spark of curiosity, a small voice in the back of her mind asking, "What if there's more?" Malik watched her carefully, his gaze steady and kind, as if he could see through the broken pieces of her soul. "You don't have to tell me everything," he said, stirring his coffee. "But if you ever need someone to listen, I'm here." Zara wanted to believe him. She wanted to trust that not everyone would leave her shattered like Damien had. But trust was something she no longer knew how to give. Instead of responding, she wrapped her hands around the warm cup in front of her and stared out the window. The city was still bustling, cars honking, people laughing. Life was moving forward, even if she wasn't. For the first time in weeks, she wondered, could I move forward too? The following days were strange. She found herself thinking about Malik more than she intended. His voice, his words, the way he had stopped her when she was about to throw everything away. He had been a stranger, yet he had cared more about her life in that one moment than Damien ever had. She didn't know what to do with that realization. At night, she lay awake, staring at the ceiling, the memories of her heartbreak still raw. She thought about Damien's betrayal, the way he had crushed her without a second thought. She wondered if he had ever truly cared, or if she had just been another pawn in his game. The pain of it was still sharp, but something else was creeping in now, anger. How could she have let him have so much power over her? How could she have given him everything, only for him to walk away without a second glance? The thought of it made her sit up, her heart pounding. She had nearly died for him, nearly given up her entire existence over a boy who had never loved her. That realization burned through her, replacing her grief with something new, determination. Damien might have broken her, but she refused to let him destroy her. One afternoon, Zara found herself outside the same cafe where Malik had taken her that night. She didn't know why she was there, only that she felt drawn to it. As if he had sensed her presence, Malik stepped outside, a surprised smile forming on his face. "Didn't think I'd see you again," he said, his eyes scanning her face, searching for something. She hesitated. She wasn't sure what she was doing here, but for the first time in weeks, she wanted to talk to someone. "I just wanted to say thank you," she admitted, shoving her hands into her pockets. Malik leaned against the doorway, his expression unreadable. For what? He asked. She swallowed. For stopping me. His gaze softened. You don't owe me a thank you, Zara. I'm just glad you're still here. The sincerity in his voice sent a lump to her throat. She nodded, unsure of what else to say. Do you want to come in? He asked after a moment. She hesitated again, but then slowly she nodded. Maybe it was time to let someone in again. Maybe, just maybe, she wasn't as alone as she had thought. Zara and Malik started meeting often, their conversation shifting from the pain she carried to the small, simple things in life. He told her about his love for music, how he played the guitar in a small band. She told him about her dreams she had abandoned the moment she had met Damien. She used to love painting, creating something beautiful out of nothing, but she hadn't touched a brush in months. Why did you stop? Malik asked one evening as they walked through a quiet park. She shrugged. I guess I lost the will to create. He looked at her for a long moment before saying, then maybe it's time to find it again. His words stayed with her long after they parted ways. That night, she dug through her closet, pulling out an old canvas and a set of paints she had forgotten she even owned. As she sat in front of the blank canvas, something inside her stirred. Hesitantly, she picked up a brush. At first, the strokes were hesitant, shaky, but then, slowly, the colors began to flow. She painted her pain, her heartbreak, the darkness she had almost succumbed to. But somewhere in the mix of blues and grays, a small streak of gold appeared. Hope. Damien remained a ghost in her past, but he no longer controlled her thoughts the way he once did. Zara knew that if she saw him again, the pain would resurface. But she also knew that she was stronger now. She wasn't the girl who had blindly thrown herself into love, ignoring every warning sign. She had survived him, and that, more than anything, gave her strength. One evening, as she was leaving the cafe, she spotted him. Damien, standing across the street, his arm draped lazily around another girl's shoulders. He hadn't changed. He was still the same heartbreaker, still playing the same games. Their eyes met for a brief moment, and she saw something flicker across his face. Surprise? Regret? She didn't know, and for the first time, she didn't care. She turned away without a second glance, walking toward a future that was finally hers. Malik was waiting for her at the corner, a knowing smile on his face. You okay? He asked. Zara exhaled, feeling lighter than she had in months. Yeah, she said, smiling back. I think I finally am.